Part 1. When the world is loud, the ruler chooses silence. There is something strange about the modern world. The one who talks the most is often the weakest. The one who explains the most is often the most insecure. And the one who demands to be heard the loudest is usually the one who fears silence the most. We live in an age where everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to prove they are right. Everyone wants to win the argument, and everyone is afraid of being forgotten. But Stoicism, the philosophy of silent rulers, teaches the opposite. True power does not need to announce itself. Greatness does not need explanation. And a king is not built through noise, but through silence. Look closely at the people you have admired most in your life. Not the loud ones, not the ones who constantly prove themselves right, but those who speak little, yet every word carries weight. Do not react immediately. Do not need to win every argument. Do not seek validation from the crowd. They enter a room and say nothing, yet the atmosphere changes. That is not an accident. It is the result of years of inner discipline, of mastering oneself before attempting to master others. The Stoics called this inner dominion, inner power. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But here is the problem. Most people cannot tolerate silence long enough to discover that strength. Silence forces you to face yourself. And for most people, that is the most frightening thing of all. In silence, there is no escape from fear, weakness, lack of discipline, promises you never kept to yourself. So they choose noise, they choose arguments, they choose performance, they choose to speak, so they do not have to listen to themselves. But those who build true authority are different. They understand an unchanging rule. The one who reacts is always beneath the one who observes. The one who speaks too much hands power to the one who listens. And the one who controls his silence controls the game. Imagine two people in a confrontation. One person is hot-tempered, explains, defends, wants to win immediately. The other remains silent, observes, does not rush to react, does not need to prove anything. Ask yourself, who is really in control? Stoicism does not teach weakness or submission. It teaches you to choose the moment to speak and to have the courage to remain silent when necessary. Silence is not avoidance. Silence is self-mastery at its highest level. Seneca once said, "The strongest man is the one who can control himself." And self-control begins with refusing to let emotion drag your tongue everywhere. Most people reveal their strength too early. They talk about their plans, they advertise their ambition, they expose their emotions, they reveal what they fear, and, in that moment, they lose their advantage. A king never reveals all his cards. A Stoic never allows emotion to govern his speech. And a man with presence never speaks simply to fill the silence. Silence builds kings. Not in a day, not in a single moment. But in every instance, you choose silence over reaction. Every time you remain calm while others lose control. Every time you swallow your ego to protect your inner ground. Part 2. Why silence makes others respect you. There is a truth few people are willing to admit. People do not respect the one who speaks well. They respect the one who is unpredictable. And nothing makes you more unpredictable than intentional silence. Think back to the last time someone made you feel intimidated. They did not raise their voice. They did not threaten you. They did not boast. They simply held eye contact, listened fully, did not react immediately, and allowed just enough silence that silence caused you to question yourself. Speak more than you intended. Reveal more than was necessary. And in that moment, power changed hands. The Stoics understood this psychology deeply. When you speak, you reveal your thoughts, you expose your emotions, you give others information about you. When you remain silent, you force the other person to guess. You force them to fill the space. You cause them to expose their weaknesses. Silence turns you into a mirror, and people are often afraid of what they see reflected back. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Do not rush to speak, do not rush to react. Let your mind stand firm like a fortress." A fortress does not move with every noise. It stands still, solid, and it causes others to wonder, what is inside? Most people live in a state of reflex. Insulted, react, questioned, explain, challenged, prove, disrespected, anger. But Stoics live differently. They live in a state of choice. They understand. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every battle is worth fighting. Their silence is not because they have nothing to say. It is because they do not need to speak to maintain their position. Here is the deeper paradox. The one who tries to prove he is strong is often weak. The one who does not need to prove it is believed. Why? Because real confidence does not create noise, it creates gravity. Watch someone who truly holds power. When provoked, their tone does not change. They do not rush to explain. They do not lower themselves into argument. They let silence do the work. And in that silence, the other person begins to ramble, defend, contradict themselves, reveal insecurity. The Stoics called this victory without battle. Seneca wrote, "He who conquers his anger is stronger than one who conquers a city." Because when you control your reactions, you control the tempo of the entire exchange. Silence also filters people. Those who cannot tolerate silence often cannot tolerate depth. Those who need constant reaction often seek control. Those who respect you only when you speak will not respect you when you succeed. A Stoic does not try to please everyone. He lets silence remove those who do not belong. But remember this: silence is not disappearance. Silence is presence at a higher level. You still observe, you still judge, you still act. You simply do not reveal when or how. A king does not explain every decision. A strategist does not announce his plan before battle. And a Stoic does not expose his inner world to the unqualified. Silence builds kings, not because silence makes you intimidating, but because it makes you impossible to manipulate. Part 3. Training inner silence, the foundation of power. You can be silent on the outside, but if chaos still rules within, that silence is only a fragile shell. Stoics do not search for quiet in the world. They build stillness from the inside, because real power does not come from speaking less, but from a mind that is no longer pulled by everything happening around it. Be honest with yourself. Most people cannot tolerate being alone for long, constantly need noise, screens, messages, feel uneasy when nothing is happening, not because they are weak, but because they have never trained their inner world. Silence reveals truth, and truth is often uncomfortable. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Retire into yourself often. Nowhere can a man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own ordered mind." But an ordered mind does not happen by accident. It is trained, like a muscle. Step 1. Stop reacting immediately. Every time you react instantly, you hand control over to the situation. A Stoic does not live by reflex. He lives by the pause. A short pause, before replying, before sending a message, before getting angry, before defending yourself. That pause is where power is born. Ask yourself, does this really require an immediate response? 9 times out of 10. The answer is no. Step 2. Practice being in silence every day. You cannot master silence if you constantly run from it. Set aside time each day. No music, no phone, no information, no consumption. Just you and your thoughts. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will try to escape. That's a good sign. It means you're touching the root. Seneca once warned, "A man who cannot endure solitude has never truly mastered himself." Silence does not weaken you. It strips away what is unnecessary, so what is essential can emerge. Step 3. Observe your thoughts. Do not identify with them. A Stoic understands this clearly. Thoughts are not commands. Emotions are not truth. In silence, you learn to notice anger, notice fear, notice the urge to speak, but you don't act immediately. You observe. And the moment you can observe your own mind, you stand above it. Epictetus said it plainly. It is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Inner silence is the space between an event and your response. Step 4. Gradually reduce the need for validation. Many people speak not because they have something important to say, but because they want to be seen. A Stoic is different. He works in silence, he grows quietly, and he lets results speak. Each time you don't brag about your achievements, don't explain your journey, don't seek applause. You cut another invisible string. The less validation you need, the harder you are to manipulate. That is freedom, and freedom always carries the presence of a king. Step 5. Choose your words like weapons. A Stoic does not hate words. He respects them. That's why he speaks only when his words add value. His words carry weight. The timing is right. Every sentence must be worthy of the silence that came before it. Silence forges presence. Words forged in silence always land heavier. Silence builds kings. Not through avoidance, but through inner discipline no one sees. Part 4. When silence becomes weakness. Deadly mistakes. Not all silence creates power. There are forms of silence that earn respect, and forms of silence that invite contempt. Stoicism does not teach you to be mute. It teaches you to master timing. Misunderstand this, and silence will not build you into a king. It will turn you into a shadow. Mistake 1. Silence rooted in fear. This is the most common form of silence, and the most dangerous. Silence to avoid conflict, silence to avoid disapproval, silence to avoid judgment, silence to avoid rejection. This silence has no weight. It smells like avoidance. People sense it even when nothing is said. Silence from fear makes you smaller. Silence from self-control makes you larger. The difference is internal. Epictetus warned, if you remain silent because you fear losing something, then you are already its slave. A king is silent not because he lacks courage, but because he does not need to speak. Mistake 2. Using silence to punish others. Many people use silence as manipulation, withholding responses, cold detachment, creating emotional distance. This is not Stoic. This is wounded ego. This kind of silence carries toxic energy, rotates relationships from the inside, and eventually turns back on you. A Stoic does not use silence to control others' emotions. He uses it to keep his own mind clean. Seneca said, "Anger, even when hidden, is still anger. If your silence contains resentment, it is no longer strength." Mistake 3. Staying silent when boundaries must be set. There are moments when silence is self-betrayal, when you're disrespected, when your values are violated, when boundaries are crossed. If you stay silent, then you teach others how to treat you poorly. A Stoic is not a doormat. He is calm, but clear. One short sentence, delivered at the right moment. Without emotion, without justification, without attack, is worth more than 1,000 hours of misplaced silence. Silence is strategy. Speaking up is responsibility. Mistake 4. Confusing calm with indifference. A Stoic cares deeply about life and values. He simply refuses to let emotion rule his actions. But many people use Stoicism to hide coldness, use silence to avoid connection, use detachment to escape responsibility. That is not strength. That is numbness. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "Live as a human among humans." A Stoic does not withdraw from the world. He stands firmly within it. Mistake 5. Silence without action. This is the most subtle mistake. Some people speak little, rarely react, avoid arguments, but they also never move forward. Their silence is not backed by action, and because of that, it carries no authority. A king is silent when needed, speaks when necessary, and acts without hesitation. Silence has value only when real capability stands behind it. Without action, silence is an empty shell. Silence builds kings, but only when you understand how to wield it. Part 5. Using silence as a tool of power in daily life. Philosophy only has value when it works in real life. Stoicism is not about sitting still and feeling above others. Stoicism is about stepping into life without losing yourself in it. Silence, when used correctly, is one of the most powerful tools you can carry with you every day. 1. Silence in communication. When listening takes control of the conversation. Most people believe that good communication means speaking well. A Stoic knows a different truth. Good communication means deep listening. When you don't interrupt, don't rush to argue, don't try to prove yourself. The other person will speak more, reveal more, and expose what they truly think. Your silence makes them feel heard. And people naturally give power to those who make them feel that way. A well-timed pause can also expose uncertainty in the other person's words. No interrogation, no pressure, just silence. 2. Silence at work. When competence speaks for you in the workplace, many people advertise their effort, keep score, constantly explain themselves. They do this because they fear being overlooked. But the most respected people are usually the ones who speak little about what they do. Don't complain, don't seek attention. They let results speak. A Stoic understands. Credibility doesn't come from words, it comes from consistency. You don't need to announce that you're working hard. If you truly are, people will feel it. 3. Silence in the face of criticism. When not every opinion deserves a response. Criticism is unavoidable. The question is, how do you handle it? When criticized, the weak react, the insecure defend, the Stoic observes. He asks, "Is this true?" If it is, he adjusts. If it isn't, he lets it pass. No arguing, no explaining, no ego protection. Seneca wrote, "Let truth defend itself." Silence in these moments is a sign of solid inner strength. 4. Silence in relationships. when you don't need to be understood by everyone. Many people exhaust themselves trying to be understood, validated, emotionally confirmed. A Stoic accepts a mature truth. Not everyone needs to understand you. Silence here is not distance. It is refusing to over-explain. You know who you are. You know where you're going. That is enough. A healthy relationship does not require constant proof of your worth. If you have to talk too much to earn respect, you may be in the wrong place. 5. Silence in success. When you don't advertise your victories, success reveals more about a person than failure ever does. Not when things go wrong, but when everything goes right. A Stoic doesn't over-celebrate, doesn't show off, doesn't make others feel left behind. He remains silent to keep his ego in check, because he knows those who lose control in victory will lose control in defeat. Silence builds kings in every conversation, in every decision, in every relationship. Part 6. Silence in adversity, the armor of rulers. No one builds a kingdom without being tested. The difference between someone who collapses and a king who is forged is not whether adversity comes, but how they stand when everything falls apart. In those moments, silence is no longer a choice. It becomes armor. When adversity strikes, human instinct is to complain, blame, explain, seek sympathy. Not because people are bad, but because pain looks for an exit. But the Stoic understands a hard truth. No one can carry your pain for you. And no one becomes stronger by broadcasting suffering. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Pain is not caused by events, but by our judgment of them." Silence in adversity prevents pain from multiplying. 1. Silence in loss, preserving dignity in pain. Loss reveals who you truly are. Loss of money, loss of status, loss of relationships, loss of loved ones. A Stoic does not deny pain. He simply refuses to display it to the full world for temporary comfort. Not because he is cold, but because he understands. Pain must be processed in quiet. Silence helps you. Avoid saying what you'll regret. Avoid hurting others further. Avoid turning pain into identity. Seneca said, "Weep if you must, but do not let grief command your behavior." 2. Silence under pressure. When the world is watching. Real pressure doesn't come from work. It comes from being observed. When you are doubted, when you are judged, when you are measured, many people collapse because they explain too early. A Stoic does the opposite. He pulls inward, limits words, redirects energy into action. Silence sharpens focus. When you stop talking, you can start doing. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Do what is right. The rest is not your concern." 3. Silence when misunderstood. Not every truth needs immediate defense. Misunderstanding is inevitable when you walk your own path. Many people become reactive, rush to clarify, demand instant validation. But the Stoic understands, truth does not require haste. Time is an ally of truth. Action speaks louder than explanation. Silence here is not accepting falsehood. It is waiting for truth to speak on its own terms. 4. Silence in exhaustion. No complaining, no self-pity. Some battles no one ever sees. Days when you are drained, feel lost, doubt yourself. A Stoic doesn't publicize fatigue. He doesn't turn it into a story. He rests in silence. He recovers through discipline. Because those who complain seek comfort. Those who stay silent seek strength. 5. Silence as rebirth. Adversity does not only destroy. If you allow it, it will restructure you. Silence creates space to Reevaluate values. Remove what is unnecessary. Temper your character. Many kings are born in seasons when no one even knows they exist. Silence builds kings, not in the spotlight, but in the dark. Part 7. When silence becomes identity. The mark of a mature king. There comes a point in life when you no longer need to remind yourself to stay silent. You stop counting. How many times you didn't react? How many times you stayed calm? How many times you restrained your ego? At this stage, silence is no longer an effort. It becomes your natural state. This is a level most people never reach because it requires time, friction, loss, and absolute honesty with yourself. It cannot be learned from books. It cannot be faked. A mature Stoic no longer argues to win, no longer reacts to prove anything, no longer speaks to fill the void. He speaks when necessary, and he stays silent when silence is the wiser choice. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Become the kind of person you would want to be remembered as, not through stories, but through presence." 1. You no longer fear being misunderstood. When silence becomes identity, you no longer need everyone to understand you. You recognize that everyone sees life through their own lens. No one holds the entire picture. And being understood is not the world's obligation. This calm realization frees you from an invisible burden. Those who do not need to be understood cannot be controlled. 2. You stop talking about your plans. Those who are unstable talk about the future. Those who are grounded are building it in silence, not because they are secretive, but because they respect their energy. Plans spoken too early often die before they live. 3. You no longer react to provocation. When someone insults you, provokes you, tries to pull you into chaos, you don't need to force yourself to stay calm. You already are. Not because you're weak, but because you no longer live inside a fragile ego. Provocation only has power over those who still need to react. 4. You choose solitude, not loneliness. Mature silence does not isolate you from the world, it simply filters. Fewer relationships, but deeper ones. More authentic and more enduring. You don't need the crowd to feel valuable. You have yourself, and that is enough. Seneca wrote, "No one is poorer than the one who is dissatisfied with himself." 5. You become a point of stability. Here is the paradox. When you stop seeking attention, people begin seeking you. For advice, for stability, for the feeling of being heard, because your presence feels safe, not loud, not judgmental, not reactive. This is the aura of a king, not a crown, not a throne, but a steadiness that allows others to feel secure in your presence. Silence builds kings, not in a single dramatic moment, but in thousands of small moments when you choose not to become a lesser version of yourself. Part 8. The Manifesto of the Silent Ruler. At the end of this journey, you may have realized one truth. Silence is not a skill you turn on when needed. Silence is a way of living. It isn't switched on and off. It is built daily, through choice, through discipline, through moments no one sees. A silent Stoic does not try to change the world with words. He changes himself and allows the world to recalibrate around him. The Stoic Manifesto of Silence. I do not speak to fill emptiness. I do not react to satisfy emotion. I do not explain myself to be understood. I observe. I filter. I act. I understand that. Not every battle deserves my participation. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every gaze deserves my attention. My attention is an asset, and I spend it intentionally. I allow Results to speak instead of promises. Time to prove value. Character to establish position. I am not in a hurry because I am building something that lasts. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Live a good life. If there are just gods, they will not require your pleas." A Stoic does not beg for validation. He lives in a way that makes it unnecessary. Holding silence in a noisy world, the world will not become quieter. It will grow louder, faster, more aggressive. And that is your advantage. When others react, you observe. When others rush, you slow down. When others boast, you stay silent and move forward. Silence does not push you backward. It keeps you from losing your direction. Signs you are on the right path. You will know you are becoming a silent king when you no longer need to say you are strong. You no longer need to prove you are right. You no longer fear being misunderstood. You no longer care who is louder. You are calm. And that calm cannot be faked. Silence builds kings, not to dominate others, but to remain undominated by anything. Final words to the silent kings. If you stayed until this moment, you are probably not looking for short-term motivation. You are seeking stability, inner discipline, and a path that does not require noise to prove worth. Remember this: not everyone is born to shout, not everyone needs attention, and not everyone has the patience to build strength in silence. But if you are hearing these words, you may be one of the few. Silence builds kings, not because silence makes you superior, but because it keeps you loyal to the strongest version of yourself. If this video caused you to slow down, think more deeply, or reconsider what real strength truly is, press like, not for the algorithm, but as a mark that you listened and understood. Subscribe to Stoic Crowned Silence if you want to continue refining inner discipline, self-mastery, and the presence of silent rulers. And comment, "Silence builds kings." If you choose the path few walk, but far. We don't need to say much. We just need to live correctly. Until we meet again, in silence and in strength. Stoic Crowned Silence, where silence forges kings.